Okay, now come to the last topic of this lesson, the limitations of inscriptional evidence. Here it is saying that whatever inscriptions have been found, have been studied by the epigraphist, they are having some limitations. What limitations it is having? First of all, whatever is written on the stone pillars or whatever is inscribed on the stone uh, stones or whatever has been inscribed on the copper plates, it does not tell about its authenticity. Authenticity means whether it is correct or it is only written to praise the king, because most of the inscriptions were installed or were placed by the kings themselves. The kings, they used to uh, make the inscriptions stone, means they used to, they order their court poets to write about them, to deliver their messages to the people and their royal orders to the people. So the king was the one who used to install these inscriptions mostly on the routes where the passers-by could read them, and it was in the form of messages. So whatever the inscriptions tell us, they tell us about only the rulers who was ruling at that time and the way of administration he was doing at that time. It does not tell about the feelings or about the opinion of the common people towards their king, कि whatever the king, the way the king was ruling, whether they like it or they don't like it, it was only telling about the political administration which was laid down by the king of that time. So first of all, we don't get the historians don't get the opinion of both the group of people, that is the ruling dynasty as well as the subjects, or you can say as well as the common people of that time. Second thing, it only tells about the political administration, because mostly the inscriptions were laid down near the places of the important routes, which tells about the messages which the ruler wants to convey to its people, and the way of administration, and also the royal orders he was issuing. It was not telling anything about the economic policies the king used to do, implement, and about the how the agriculture was done by the common people, and anything for the improvement of the common people, and what are the notions of the common people towards the king, towards their own king. So only it tells about one thing, that is the political administration. It does not tell anything about the economic or the social condition of that time. Second thing is that because they are so old, these inscriptions which are found in many historical sites in India, in Indian subcontinent, they are found in numerous quantity, in thousands. But whatever is written on these inscriptions mostly has been erased out because of the time, and the letters, they have become so faint that the epigraphists are not able to read them and trace out the meaning. So these things make are the limitations of for the put limitations for the epigraphist to trace out the history of that time. Now I'm going to read and then you will understand in a more better way. Okay, the limitations of inscriptional evidence. By now, it is probably evident that there are limits to what epigraphy can reveal. Sometimes there are technical limitations. Letters are very faintly engraved, and thus reconstructions are uncertain also, inscription may be damaged or letters missing. Besides, it is not always easy to be sure about the exact meaning of the word used in inscriptions, some of which may be specific to particular place or time. If you go through an epigraphical journal, some are listed in timeline too, you will realize that scholars are constantly debating and discussing um, alternative ways of reading inscriptions. Although several thousand inscriptions have been discovered, not all have been deciphered. Means thousands of inscriptions have been discovered, but all the inscriptions have not been read because of the alphabets which are missing, the letters which have been erased, and the epigraphists are not able to take out the exact meaning what is written over there. uh, so what is available in present is probably only a fraction of what was inscribed. मतलब जो भी अभी तक हमारे पास साक्ष्य है उस समय का, जो उस जो इंस्क्रिप्शंस हमें सही कंडीशन से मिले, वॉट एवर मीन्स inscriptions the archaeologists have got in a very good condition and which can be inscribed, which can be deciphered by the epigraphists. They only tell us something about the past, not because only few have been deciphered, not all. So we have very less history of that time. There is another, perhaps more fundamental problem, and not everything that we may consider practically or economically significant was necessarily recorded in inscription. मतलब जो केवल मतलब उनको सही लगता था, राजाओं को जो वो लिखवाना चाहते थे बस वही लिखवाते थे और इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं लिखवाते। इसलिए एक तरफा ही हम कह सकते हैं कि राजा अपनी तारीफ़ के लिए ही कुछ चीज़ों का वर्णन करवाते थे, या फिर वो कुछ रॉयल ऑर्डर्स या इंस्ट्रक्शन जो लोगों को देना चाहते थे मैसेज के माध्यम से वही देते थे। और लोग क्या सोचते थे उनके बारे में, या जो उनको लगता था ये चीज़ बहुत मतलब ज़रूरी नहीं है, तो उसके बारे में वो कुछ भी इंस्क्राइब नहीं करवाते। तो उसके बारे में हमें कुछ भी नहीं पता। जैसे कॉमन लोगों के बारे में किस तरह से वो रहते थे, किस तरह से वो एग्रीकल्चर करते थे, क्या तरीका वो अपनाते थे अपना जीविकोपार्जन करने के लिए, एंड टू सस्टेन देयर लाइफ, एंड व्हाट मेथड्स वर इम्प्लीमेंटेड फॉर द advancement of agriculture and all that, that was not means inscribed by the rulers of that time. So for instance, routine agricultural practices and the joys and sorrows of daily existence find no mention in inscriptions, which focus more often than not on grand unique events. Besides, the content of inscription almost invariably projects the perspective of the person who commissioned them. केवल एक तरफा ही था कि जो उसको लिखवाता था यानी कि राजा, तो जो राजा चाहता था बस वही लिखवाता था, उसके अलावा वो कुछ भी नहीं उसमें लिखवाता था। ओके recent अब इसमें then it is saying so as to arrive at a better understanding. Thus epigraphy alone does not provide a full understanding of political and economic history. Also, historians often question both old and new evidence. Scholars in the late 19th and early 20th centuries were primarily interested in the history of kings. From the mid 20th century onwards, issues such as economic change and the ways in which different social groups emerged have assumed far more importance. Recent decades have seen a much greater preoccupation with histories of marginalized groups. This will probably lead to fresh investigation of old sources and the development of new strategies or analysis. So it is saying that the early historians or the early archaeologists and the epigraphists, they were more interested in knowing about the political history of the rulers, which dynasties were ruling over a particular state in that particular era. So they were more interested in the ruling dynasties of that particular state or of that particular country, especially in Indian subcontinent, and they were not so much interested about the common people, how they were living, how they were about their society, and also about the economic condition of the people. But there was a change in the criteria of knowing assessment of history during the 20th and 20th century, in which the historians were now were becoming interested about the lives of the common people, the way they were practicing their occupations, their the economy of that country or the nation, and the way they were earning or sustaining their life. Now the few decades means you can say 20 just 10 years or before. Now the historians are more interested about the marginalized group. Marginalized groups means those groups who are more vulnerable or prone to any type of problems, or you can say who are economically or socially weaker class people. So now the historians are looking towards not only the ruling dynasties who were affluent or rich or wealthy class people who are holding the higher position in the society, but they are now diverting their attention toward those who were the weaker class, economically as well as socially weaker class, and were more vulnerable or prone to any type of misery or anything due to the natural disaster or due to any type of economic change. So now they are paying attention towards it. So the this will probably uh, lead to fresh investigation. Now diverting their attention toward more wider area will lead to more fresh investigations of old sources and the development of new strategies of analysis. Now you can see this is a copper plate inscription from Karnataka 6th century, in which you can see a copper plate in which the words are inscribed in such a manner that they can be easily read.